Welcome to Monday Night Raw. Tonight's main event sets the stage for Elimination Chamber as bitter rivals collide in unlikely alliances. With championship gold and personal vendettas looming, this tag clash could deliver a crucial psychological edge heading into their blockbuster showdowns. Intercontinental Champion Apollo Crews teams with his #1 contender Sheamus to take on DIY tonight. With Crews and Sheamus set to collide at Elimination Chamber, this uneasy alliance faces a major test against Gargano and Ciampa. Tensions boil over as Tessa Blanchard clashes with Asuka tonight. With revenge, momentum, and a crucial edge heading into the Elimination Chamber at stake, both women are desperate to make a statement on the road to WrestleMania. We kick off the night with chaos as Wyatt 6 collide with American Made. After weeks of escalating attacks, these two factions finally meet in a Survivor Series-style 8-man elimination tag team match where survival is the only objective.
The following is an 8-man elimination tag team contest. Elimination will be via pinfall, submission, or disqualification. The team which eliminates all members of their opponents will be the winners. Introducing first, weighing in at a combined weight of 1,047 pounds, representing American Made, Chad Gable, Otis, Brutus Creed, and Julius Creed.
American Made make their way to the ring, united and focused after weeks of being targeted by the eerie mind games of Wyatt 6. Led by Chad Gable, they look determined to put an end to the chaos tonight and shift their attention toward the World Tag Team Championship picture.
And their opponents. Weighing in at a combined weight of 1,037 pounds, representing Wyatt 6, Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, and Joe Gacy.
Wyatt 6 emerged with an unsettling presence as Uncle Howdy leads Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, and Joe Gacy to the ring. After weeks of chaos and confrontation, this mysterious faction looks to continue their punishment of American Made and prove their dominance as a unified force. Both faction leaders, Chad Gable and Uncle Howdy, start the match, locking up as the action goes back and forth, with neither man able to gain a clear advantage. Uncle Howdy tags in Dexter Lumis, and Lumis drops Chad Gable with a vicious dropkick to the skull, keeping him grounded. Gable shows his resilience, fighting back through the pain before planting Lumis with a powerful belly-to-belly suplex. Gable locks Dexter Lumis in a tight crossface, trying to wear him down. Lumis powers through, fights free of the hold, and grabs Gable, hoisting him up before slamming him hard to the mat. Gable somehow crawls to his corner and manages to tag in Brutus Creed. Brutus Creed showcases his raw power, slamming his opponents to the mat and asserting control of the match. Brutus Creed continues the relentless assault on Joe Gacy and secures a shocking early elimination in the match. Eric Rowan storms into the ring, seeking retribution for Joe Gacy. He unleashes his power, slamming Brutus Creed with a crushing Iron Claw slam and going for the pin. Just as Rowan looks to secure the win, Otis rushes in from ringside to break up the pin. Chad Gable rushes in and immediately locks Eric Rowan in a punishing ankle lock. Rowan digs deep, summoning his strength, and powers out of the hold, refusing to stay down. Gable continues his relentless offense, taking down his opponents with precision. He goes for the pin on Dexter Lumis after a German suplex, but Rowan rushes in to break it up. Rowan storms back into the ring, asserting his dominance over his opponents. He slams Brutus Creed to the mat with a powerful Iron Claw slam before going for the pin. Chad Gable rushes in to break it up. Rowan catches him too, delivering another devastating Iron Claw slam. Otis counters Rowan and drives him into the corner, asserting control of the match. He slams Rowan hard onto the mat, keeping the pressure on. Climbing the turnbuckles, Otis leaps off and crashes down with a devastating Vader bomb onto Rowan. He lifts Rowan back up, sends him rebounding off the ropers, and goes for a pump-up powerbomb, but Rowan struggles free at the last second. Undeterred, Otis catches Rowan again and slams him down with a devastating German suplex. Uncle Howdy is tagged in and immediately goes on the offensive, unleashing a series of punishing attacks on Otis. He locks in the mandible claw, keeping Otis grounded and vulnerable. As the referee starts the count, Brutus Creed rushes into the ring to break up the pin. Rowan is tagged in and immediately takes control, keeping Otis grounded with a series of relentless strikes and slams. Rowan showcases his power, dominating every exchange and preventing Otis from mounting any offense. He showcases his raw power with a massive Iron Claw slam before going for the pin. Otis is eliminated, evening the match at 3-on-3. Brutus Creed enters the ring, but Rowan maintains control, unleashing a series of punishing strikes. Uncle Howdy is tagged in and immediately mounts a vicious offense on Julius Creed. He lifts Julius and slams him down with a powerful Urinage. With Julius down, Howdy goes for the pin. Uncle Howdy immediately takes Gable down with a crushing move. Howdy then tags in Dexter Lumis, who continues the relentless assault on Gable, keeping him grounded. Dexter Lumis continues to mount the pressure on Gable, keeping him grounded and worn down. Lumis then climbs to the top turnbuckle and launches himself into a huge splash. He hooks Gable's leg for the pin as the referee slides into position. Chad Gable is eliminated, and Brutus Creed enters the match facing a massive uphill battle as he stands alone against 3 opponents. Dexter Lumis locks in the submission.
Here are your winners. Wyatt 6.
Wyatt 6 stand tall after surviving the brutal war, outlasting American Made in this grueling elimination battle. The mysterious faction proves their superiority as a unit, sending a chilling message to the rest of the roster.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first. From Tampa, Florida, representing Fatal Influence, Jacy Jayne.
Jacy Jayne makes her way to the ring, carrying herself with renewed confidence after forming and leading her new faction. She is focused on realizing her full potential and looks to make a strong statement as she aims to take the women's division by storm.
And her opponent. From Miami, Florida, Lola Vice.
Lola Vice makes her entrance with a look of intensity, determined to put recent setbacks behind her. After falling short in her bid to become the #1 contender for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, she is focused on regaining momentum tonight. Lola Vice starts the match aggressively, pressing the action and keeping Jacy Jayne on the defensive early. Vice goes for a crushing elbow drop, but Jayne evades at the last second and capitalizes to seize control of the match. Jayne continues to pour on the pressure, keeping Vice grounded and under control. Jayne connects with a crushing big boot and goes for the cover, but Vice shows resilience by kicking out at the very last moment. Vice manages to counter and fires back with a flurry of quick strikes, shifting the momentum in her favor. Vice overwhelms Jayne with her speed and aggression, forcing Jayne onto the defensive. Vice goes after the grounded Jayne, but Jayne evades and nearly steals it with a sudden spinning back elbow. Vice blocks the strike, fires back with one of her own, and goes for the cover. But Jayne somehow kicks out just in time. Jayne gets back to her feet and connects with another crushing big boot on Lola Vice before going for the pin. But Vice kicks out once again at 2. Jayne grows visibly frustrated and continues to pour on the pressure, keeping Vice on the defensive. Jayne stays aggressive, pressing the pace as she looks to wear Vice down and put the match away. Jayne senses the end, waits for Vice to get back to her feet, and drills her with a devastating codebreaker before hooking the leg for the pin. Jacy Jayne secures a hard-fought victory, showing resilience and skill. After the win, she calls out her faction mates, Kiana James and Fallon Henley, to join her in the ring. Lola Vice bravely tries to mount a comeback, refusing to stay down despite the overwhelming odds. Ultimately, she is overpowered as all 3 members of Fatal Influence unleash a relentless punishment, asserting their dominance. Fatal Influence stands tall after the assault, sending a chilling warning to the women's division.
The following tag team contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first. From Benue State, Nigeria, weighing in at 240 pounds, he is the Intercontinental Champion, Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews makes his way to the ring, ready to face DIY after weeks of brutal attacks from Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Tonight, he teams with his unlikely ally, Sheamus, setting aside their upcoming Intercontinental Championship clash to take down DIY together.
And his partner. From Dublin, Ireland, weighing in at 267 pounds, representing the Brawling Crew, he is the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus.
Sheamus makes his entrance, ready to join forces with Apollo Crews after coming to his rescue from DIY's relentless attacks. Setting their upcoming Intercontinental Championship match aside for now, Sheamus teams up with Crews to take on Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
And their opponents. Weighing in at a combined weight of 400 pounds, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
DIY makes their way to the ring, focused and determined to target both Apollo Crews and Sheamus. With their sights set on Crews' Intercontinental Championship and a score to settle with Sheamus, Gargano and Ciampa are ready to inflict punishment tonight. DIY wastes no time showcasing their chemistry, using quick tags and double-team offense to isolate and wear down Apollo Crews. Gargano and Ciampa control the early moments, cutting the ring in half and keeping Crews under constant pressure. Apollo Crews evades Ciampa's attack, takes him down, and quickly tags in Sheamus to shift the momentum. Sheamus storms into the match and unleashes a barrage of stiff strikes on Ciampa, imposing his physicality immediately. Ciampa is rocked as Sheamus continues to punish him with relentless offense. Sheamus tags in Apollo Crews as Ciampa desperately dives across the ring to bring Johnny Gargano into the match. Crews enters with renewed confidence, immediately taking the fight to Gargano. Gargano is overwhelmed as Crews unloads with relentless, high-impact offense. Johnny Gargano turns the momentum as he reverses and whips Apollo Crews hard into the corner. Gargano follows up by driving Crews headfirst into the turnbuckle with the long dart and hooks the leg. Sheamus storms into the ring just in time to break up the pinfall. Apollo Crews shows incredible resilience as he fights back despite the blood pouring from his forehead after the long dart. Crews turns the tide and sends Johnny Gargano to Suplex City with 3 consecutive German suplexes. The momentum swings decisively in favor of the Intercontinental Champion. Crews drills Gargano with a thunderous spinebuster and hooks the leg, but Ciampa dives in quickly to break up the pin. Crews tags in Sheamus, and the Celtic Warrior storms in to continue the assault on Gargano. Sheamus delivers 3 consecutive Irish Curse backbreakers, leaving Gargano writhing in pain. Johnny Wrestling manages to counter Sheamus at the last moment and tags in Tommaso Ciampa. Sheamus stuns Ciampa with a thunderous brogue kick, knocks Gargano off the apron to ringside, and hooks the leg on Ciampa for the pin.
Here are your winners, Sheamus and Apollo Crews.
Sheamus secures the victory for the team, setting aside their upcoming title showdown at Elimination Chamber. Apollo Crews shows his appreciation, sharing a handshake with Sheamus as they vow to give their all when they collide for the Intercontinental Championship. The question looms whether Sheamus can finally capture the one title that has eluded him and complete his career as a Grand Slam champion. Xavier Woods makes his way to the ring, microphone in hand, ready to speak his mind. Xavier Woods calls out the World Tag Team Champions, the War Raiders, demanding they come to the ring and respond. Eric answers the call, making his way to the ring to confront Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods demands another shot at the World Tag Team Championship for the New Day, after their previous title opportunity was derailed by the Creed brothers. Eric gladly accepts the challenge on behalf of the World Tag Team Champions, promising to defend the titles with honor. The stage is set for another explosive showdown between the War Raiders and the New Day next week.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first. From Charlotte, North Carolina, representing TNA, Tessa Blanchard.
Tessa Blanchard makes her way to the ring, fueled by the desire for revenge after Asuka's attack last week. With the women's elimination chamber looming, she aims to assert her dominance and gain a psychological edge over her rival.
And her opponent. From Osaka, Japan, representing Damage Control, she is the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka.
Asuka makes her entrance with fierce determination, looking to continue last week's attack on Tessa Blanchard. With the women's elimination chamber approaching, she aims to assert her dominance and gain a psychological edge over Blanchard. Asuka starts the match on fire, unleashing heavy strikes and immediate pressure. Tessa Blanchard refuses to be intimidated, firing back with stiff shots of her own as the exchange intensifies. Tessa Blanchard begins to seize control, driving several brutal knee strikes into Asuka. The impacts are so severe that Asuka may need to be checked for a possible concussion. Asuka manages to counter Tessa Blanchard and fight her way back to her feet. She nails a running hip attack and goes for the cover. But it is far too early as Blanchard powers out at one. Asuka continues to apply the pressure, locking in the Asuka lock and cranking back to weaken Tessa Blanchard. Blanchard struggles desperately in the hold, fighting to avoid tapping out as Asuka looks to force the submission. Blanchard fights back and begins mounting serious offense of her own, swinging the momentum in her favor. She places Asuka on the top turnbuckle, then drops Asuka face first onto the mat with a brutal mid-rope facebuster. Blanchard heads to the corner and looks ready to put Asuka away. She gets back in and crushes Asuka with a devastating double foot stomp before hooking the leg. Somehow, Asuka finds the resilience to kick out and stay alive in this match. Asuka fights back with renewed intensity, overwhelming Tessa Blanchard with a flurry of relentless strikes and offense. Blanchard shocks Asuka by countering and sending her crashing into the corner. She follows up with another facebuster off the turnbuckle and hooks the leg for the pin.
Here is your winner, Tessa Blanchard.
Tessa Blanchard secures a hard-fought victory over Asuka, but her celebration is cut short as Women's World Champion Io Sky emerges, making her way to the ring and drawing all eyes. Io Sky stares down TNA Knockouts World Champion Tessa Blanchard, teasing the possibility of a champion versus champion clash at WrestleMania if Blanchard can secure the victory in the Women's Elimination Chamber. Hardcore champion Sami Zayn makes his way to the ring, microphone in hand, ready to address the WWE Universe and speak his mind. Sami Zayn calls out Moose, demanding answers for last week's shocking attack. Moose makes his entrance, exuding confidence and intensity as he steps into the ring. He declares that he's representing TNA, determined to prove that TNA superstars are tougher than anyone in WWE. Moose suddenly launches an ambush, catching Sami Zayn off guard. He takes Zayn down with a devastating spear, leaving the hardcore champion reeling in the ring.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first. From Townsville, Australia, Zarya.
Zarya makes her entrance with determination, stepping into the spotlight after siding with Sol Ruca in her recent conflict with Liv Morgan. Tonight, she aims to take on Tiffany Stratton, who has aligned herself with Morgan, and assert her presence in the women's division.
And her opponent. From Prior Lake, Minnesota, Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany Stratton makes her entrance with confidence, ready to confront Zarya in the ring. After aligning with Liv Morgan against Sol Ruca, Stratton looks to punish Zarya for interfering in their affairs. Zarya explodes out of the gate, using her raw power to overwhelm Tiffany Stratton in the opening moments. Stratton is forced on the defensive early as Zarya asserts her physical dominance. Zarya manhandles Tiffany Stratton, tossing her around the ring with ease and authority. She keeps the pressure on relentlessly, maintaining complete control as Stratton struggles to fight back. Tiffany Stratton manages to counter at the right moment, shifting the momentum in her favor. She turns the tables on Zarya, seizing control and mounting offense of her own. However, Stratton cannot sustain the offense as Zarya counters decisively and seizes back control of the match. Zarya drops Stratton from the top turnbuckle with a devastating backdrop, sending her crashing to the mat. As Stratton struggles back to her feet, Zarya charges in and levels her with a thunderous spear. Zarya hoists Stratton up and plants her with a devastating F6 before rolling her over and hooking the leg for the pin.
Here is your winner, Zarya.
Zarya secures the victory, overcoming Tiffany Stratton with determination and skill. Her celebration is cut short as Liv Morgan emerges, taking a revenge for Stratton with a vicious post-match attack using a kendo stick.
The following tag team contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first. From Chicago, Illinois, weighing in at 218 pounds, he is the Second City Saint, CM Punk.
CM Punk makes his entrance with intensity, ready to face Seth Rollins and Finn Bálor in tonight's tag match. Fresh off his men's Royal Rumble victory, Punk teams with World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, putting aside their probable future WrestleMania clash to take on tonight's opponents.
And his partner. From Vienna, Austria, weighing in at 250 pounds, representing Imperium, he is the World Heavyweight Champion, the Ring General, Gunther.
World Heavyweight Champion Gunther makes his imposing entrance, standing tall, preparing to defend the title against Finn Bálor at Elimination Chamber. Tonight, he forms an uneasy alliance with men's Royal Rumble winner CM Punk, as potential WrestleMania rivals unite to confront their shared enemies in this volatile tag team matchup.
And their opponents. First. From Bray, Ireland, weighing in at 190 pounds, representing the Judgment Day, he is the Prince, Finn Bálor.
Finn Bálor makes his way to the ring with a renewed sense of urgency after being dethroned by Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Desperate to regain the title at Elimination Chamber, Bálor teams up with Seth Rollins tonight, determined to gain a crucial psychological edge over their shared rivals.
And his partner. From Davenport, Iowa, weighing in at 217 pounds, he is the visionary, Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins makes his way to the ring after last week's backstage assault on men's Royal Rumble winner CM Punk. Aligning with Finn Bálor tonight, Rollins looks to take the fight to their common enemies and gain momentum heading into their respective Elimination Chamber battles. CM Punk and Finn Bálor start the match, locking up in a stiff, hard-hitting exchange that sets an intense tone. Punk begins to find his rhythm, taking control with sharp strikes and methodical offense. Punk tags in Gunther, and the World Heavyweight Champion immediately asserts himself, punishing Finn Bálor with relentless offense. Gunther keeps the pressure on his Elimination Chamber challenger, sending a clear message with every brutal strike. Gunther tags in Punk, and the two combine seamlessly as they isolate Finn Bálor with crisp double-team offense. Bálor barely escapes the onslaught, diving across the ring to tag in Seth Rollins. Rollins brings the fight to Punk, targeting him with relentless offense as he looks to weaken his rival ahead of the Elimination Chamber. Punk manages to dodge, turns the tide, and regains control of the match. Punk tags in Gunther, and the World Heavyweight Champion immediately continues the punishment, dismantling Rollins with his relentless bruising offense. Gunther plants Rollins with a thunderous powerbomb and goes for the pin, but Rollins somehow kicks out at 2. Gunther continues his hard-hitting onslaught, but Rollins times the block perfectly and seizes the opening to swing the momentum firmly in his favor. Rollins unleashes his pent-up frustration on Gunther, firing back with heavy punishing strikes of his own. The visionary refuses to let up, driving Gunther back with relentless intensity. Rollins is mounting sustained pressure on the World Heavyweight Champion as the momentum continues to shift. Rollins makes the tag to Bálor, and the two combine seamlessly with quick, decisive offense to take Gunther down. Bálor blasts Gunther with a devastating shotgun dropkick that sends the World Heavyweight Champion crashing into the ring post. As Gunther staggers back to his feet, Bálor crushes him with a double foot stomp before tagging in Rollins to keep the pressure firmly applied. Sensing the finish, Rollins drives Gunther to the mat with a brutal curb stomp, clears Punk off the apron and goes for the pin.
Here are your winners: Seth Rollins and Finn Bálor.
Seth Rollins pins the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther to secure the victory for his team in a major statement win. With this momentum, Rollins and Finn Bálor enter Elimination Chamber, carrying a significant psychological advantage over their rivals. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you like this video.